Yeah. Hey
Oh,
there. Welcome to this edition of Social Security Disability, understanding how you can build a strong disability case by Stanley Law. And I have with me today attorney Shannon Doan, who has a little bit of the sniffles from her grandbabies. Hello, Shannon.
good morning.
Good morning. And you all can see from my background, I don't have this fancy schmancy background, Shannon, like you do. Technology just decided to not go my way today
Yes. The head cold got caught up with me, and technology caught up with you.
with
Um,
me. So
but
I'll
we'll
take
we'll power
I'll take
through
the
and make
tech
it
glitch.
work.
I'll take the tech glitch, by the way, over the sniffles any day.
Yes,
But
definitely.
yes, so we have some slides to share today, and we're going to be talking about, you're going to see at the top of your screen, 1-800-608-3333 and stanleylawoffices.com. And what I'm going to put a QR code on here now and again. You're going to see it up in the corner of the screen. This is, again, technology working in our favor. And if you scan that QR code, that will actually take you directly to the Stanley Law Offices Social Security Disability page. And Shannon, although Stanley Law is based in Syracuse with offices in Watertown and Binghamton and Rochester, Montrose, PA, throughout upstate New York and northern Pennsylvania, for Social Security disability, you actually can work with clients in all 50 states. Is that correct?
That is correct. And we actually just got a new client from California, which is the farthest west we've gone so far. Since
Yeah.
Social Security is a federal program, we are able to handle cases for clients all across the country. And Social Security has done a good job since the COVID pandemic began of making things friendly in terms of virtual services. Everything can be done by phone, by video, all from the comfort of your own home. So we are able to take care of you wherever you may be.
Wonderful, wonderful. And if you have the opportunity, go and take a look at some of the reviews that Shannon and her team receive from people all over the country. Part of the difficulty of any process when there's the stress and the things that pile up as it relates to trying to get your SSD benefits approved. You can see from those reviews part of the challenge is communication, et cetera. And Shannon and her team are incredibly on top of keeping you updated on your case, moving things forward effectively and efficiently, and keeping you in the loop all the time. So, with that, what are we talking about specifically today, Shannon, and why do you think it's important?
We are going to go through sort of the top 10 tips on things that people can do to feel like they have a little bit of control over their disability case and to help them help us or whoever the representative may be build a case. A lot of it is common sense, but sometimes you just don't think about it. And these are things, if you are going through the process now or considering going through the process, they're things to get on your radar and start working on them because they can make the process go much more smoothly.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, wonderful. Well, what we're going to do here is I have some slides. We're going to share these slides. And then Shannon, of course, as you know, as we go through, once, if I'm not picking up on your cue to move to the next slide, you let me know that, okay? So here we go. Let's get back to our beginning, building a strong disability case. All right, so go ahead, take her away, Shannon.
Tip number one, if you have the ability to do so, I recommend that you create a My Social Security account online. This My Social Security account, to give you as best of an analogy as I can, is kind of like the Domino's pizza tracker app. It gives you real-time insight into your claim status, where it's at in the process. It also allows you to get messages from Social Security about things that are happening in your case. Particularly with SSD benefits, it allows you to see your work credits. If you are considering applying for disability, I think it's important to look into that account and see what your earnings history may be, to make sure that Social Security has the correct information.
Sure.
Because if you don't have enough work credits, you're not going to be eligible for SSD. So looking into it, making sure the information is accurate, excuse me. And if it's not, we can work together to see what information you may have in terms of tax returns or W-2s to plug in those gaps and get Social Security the information they need. The My Social Security account also allows you to see what your potential benefits could be in terms of retirement and disability accounts. It's just an overall very effective way to get information at your fingertips. And some of this information is not information that we have access to as your representative. It is only you. So again, I encourage everyone to create one of those accounts if they're able to do so. And leaning into that technology aspect takes us to tip number 2, which is working with as many providers as you can about gaining patient portal or MyChart access to your medical records. This can be important in a couple of different ways. Number 1, getting online access to your medical records is a really good way of allowing you and us, or whoever, again, your representative may be, real-time access to updated medical information. Records are not constantly being refreshed and updated throughout this process. And the more information we can get to Social Security earlier in this process, the better your chances are of getting a good result sooner rather than later.
And we know that they're inaccurate oftentimes as well.
Correct.
So just like with the Social Security account portal, this medical portal is important to go into, Shannon, to ensure that they've got all the information that they
Correct. And that was going to be my next point is, if you have online access to your records, review them and review them frequently. Excuse me, because sometimes they're not accurate. Things you want to look for, make sure the doctor is actually capturing the things you're talking about. I had a client a couple of weeks ago reach out. They had checked their portal for the first time in a while and were surprised when they saw, there's a section of office visits notes that are called review of symptoms, where the doctor is supposed to be recording the things that you're telling him or her about. And this person's review of symptoms was entirely negative. And the person was very upset and said, I know that I've talked to my doctor about this. Why is it not in my notes? And it's better to be proactive than reactive, because by the time those records are already in Social Security's hands, it's a little late to try to correct them or fix them. So that's another very important thing to be doing is double checking and making sure that those reports are accurate. Another example, I've had a client who has regularly used a cane. And in looking at the medical records, the doctor wasn't documenting use of cane during any of the visits. And the presumption is, okay, well, if you were using one, that the doctor would have noted it. Well, it doesn't always work that way.
Right.
Sometimes things are copied and pasted.
Or they're seeing so many patients in a given day.
Correct.
They're not scanning the same way of thinking, okay, this is a Social Security disability case, so I have to be noticing every little right? They're
Correct.
not scanning that way. So,
Correct. So again, getting access to your online records allows us to keep Social Security as up to date as possible, which can be critical to the success of a case. And it allows you to take ownership of your records and to make sure that what is in there is being properly documented. Because by the time you're getting particularly to the hearing level and a hearing has already been scheduled, it's a little late to go back and get a provider to correct, sometimes voluminous medical records. So if you notice your last office visit wasn't accurate, have that discussion with your doctor when you go in for your next 3-month checkup of, hey doc, I noticed on my portal the last visit you didn't talk about how much I was reporting pain or new symptoms or sleep problems. And it allows us to, again, build the record as we go. Tip number 3, this is very commonsensical, but you'd be surprised. If you have a disability claim pending, it's vital to be checking your snail mail, your email, and your text messages regularly. You're going to get communication from Social Security in the mail. Social Security will also call you and potentially leave voicemails. So don't go weeks at a time and not monitor your mailbox, whether it's the physical mailbox or your email box. If you are a client of us, as Angela mentioned earlier, we are in very regular, constant, I'm not going to say constant, but very, very regular, every couple of weeks at least, communication with each client. Sometimes that may be by email. Sometimes it may be by text message. Sometimes it's phone call. But be sure you are monitoring these things regularly so that you can respond promptly. A lot of times, if Social Security mails forms or documents to you that need a response, the turnaround time is pretty quick, anywhere from 10 days to 30 days. So if you're going a couple of weeks at a time and not checking, we may be missing critical deadlines.
Right.
And even if you aren't missing a deadline, if Social Security is asking us for something, our goal is to get that to them as soon as possible. Because the sooner we give them what they're asking for, the sooner you're getting a decision. And it's already a long enough process as it is. So why make it take any longer than it already is taking?
And this kind of goes, tip number 4 goes right along with that, right, Shannon?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It like I said, it's critical to stay on top of things because it's a long process, but if we are being proactive in what we can do, hopefully we can trim down the wait time a little bit more.
And disabling that spam filter, because a lot of times I
Yeah.
know, stuff just goes to spam. It just does. So you have
Correct.
to always
And
check
when
it.
Social Security calls, it typically is going to show up as a 1-800 number or a number that spam filter is going to capture. And if Social Security calls and doesn't get an answer, it's not just as simple as picking up the phone and calling them back. It unfortunately does not work that way.
Right. Wouldn't life be so much simpler if it just
Correct.
worked?
I spoke with a client this morning and said, well, I got a call. I had a missed call from Social Security about a week ago. I've been trying to get back in touch with them and I can't. Do you know what they called about? Unfortunately, we don't. They don't always communicate to us what they're looking for. And if we don't have a name or a phone number of the person who called, sometimes it's looking for that proverbial needle in a haystack.
Right.
It is annoying. No one is going to dispute it's annoying to get all of those calls about your car warranty. or somebody trying to sell you things. But if you have a disability claim pending, spam filters can be your worst enemy because they're going to block Social Security's calls, which is
Okay.
never a good thing.
No.
Tip number 5, another very commonsensical one. Whether you're a client of Stanley Law or another disability representative, it is crucial to keep your representative up to date, whether it is changes in your contact information, so new address, new phone number. If something like that has changed, let your representative know. Number 1, so they know how to contact you. But number 2, so we can let Social Security know. If they're calling the wrong phone number or mailing things to an address that you're not at anymore, sometimes if they don't get a response, they will either close the file or go ahead and make a decision without whatever information they're trying to obtain. So we always want to have current, accurate contact information. It's also important to keep your representative up to date about changes in your medical providers and your medical information. For example, if you're starting to see a new doctor, one doctor refers you to someone for more specialized treatment or additional treatment. Excuse me again, the granddaughters are still with me. That's something we want to make sure Social Security knows about. Changes in your medical information could be a lot of things. Your medications are being adjusted. Doctors are ordering tests. You're going to the emergency room. You're being admitted into the hospital, or you're getting a new diagnosis. We want to keep Social Security as informed as we can throughout every step of this process. Look at it sort of as putting a jigsaw puzzle together. Each little piece of updated information that you're giving us is a puzzle piece. And the more puzzle pieces that we're connecting for Social Security, the bigger the picture is that they're seeing. It helps them see more of why you're disabled.
Shannon, when you start with a new client, and by the way, to anyone who views this either live or on replay, we are talking today about how you're building a stronger, and how to build a stronger disability case so that your representative, for example, Attorney Shannon Doan, when they're working on your case, things can move along more effectively and efficiently. As Shannon has pointed out, the process is long enough as it is. We want to make sure that we're removing all speed bumps as much as possible, things that are in our control, right? We can't control everything, but the things that we can control, that's what we're talking about today. And there's a QR code on your screen. You can scan that with your cell phone. It'll take you right to the Social Security disability page on StanleyLawOffices.com. Stanley Law does Social Security disability in all 50 states. So it doesn't really matter where you are. The process is handled virtually for Social Security disability anyway. So no matter where you are, you can give the office a call at 1-800-608-3333. And Shannon, when they get to you, okay, because someone, obviously a receptionist at Stanley Law, is going to answer the phone. The call's not going to come directly to you. So when they transfer the call to you or to your paralegal, what do you at some point go through some of these commonsensical things with them right up front as well, to say, here are some warnings, here are some flags, here's what to expect?
As soon as we are retained, as soon as a client signs their new client paperwork, I schedule a new client appointment with each and every client right off the bat. During that appointment, I introduce myself. I give them a little bit of information about my background, so they have some idea who it is that they're working with, so that they feel like they're in good hands. We also will talk about where they are at in the process and give them a roadmap, essentially, of where the disability process takes us. in terms of each level, how long it takes, the types of things that are happening. A look at what Social Security's numbers look like in terms of approving and denying, and kind of going through these tips again.
These tips, yeah.
Here's what you can expect from us, and here's what we expect from you, and how we can communicate effectively to keep Social Security in the loop and to build a stronger case.
Yes.
Our goal in each and every case is to get it approved as quickly as we can. I don't mind doing hearings, and I, quite frankly,
And you're very good at them.
I'm pretty good at them. But the goal is, if we can get someone approved at the first or the second level, that's what we want to do.
Sure.
And these tips are all keeping that in mind. Because the sooner we get someone a favorable decision, the sooner we've gotten them some peace of mind, and some financial relief, which is our goal. It's not taking every case to hearing. We would love to get everyone approved at the first or second level if we can. Numbers wise, Social Security's numbers mean it does not happen that often. But we want to give people the best chance we can of doing so.
And I do see those online reviews come through, Shannon, of where they say, "Oh, Shannon got me approved so fast." It does happen. It does happen. And certainly, as you said, it won't happen regardless if you don't follow some of these basic helpful steps
Correct.
to facilitate and move your case forward. So tip number 6, Shannon, again, seems like kind of common sense, but it's one of those things that's helpful to remind.
Yes. Always respond to Social Security's requests as timely and completely as possible. There's not a lot, quite honestly, we can do to make Social Security move any faster in disability cases. What we can control is our own actions. So if Social Security is asking for something, let's work together to get them that information as quickly as we can.
Now, what's an example, Shannon, of where they would reach out to you directly and they need something from you?
At each level of the process, Social Security sends out various questionnaires asking people to give them more information, say, for example, on your day-to-day activities, or looking for details about the types of work that you've done, how you've done the jobs, the tools you used. They may send out more specific questionnaires about vision problems or pain or headaches, to get more information that may not be captured in your medical records.
And do you coach them through, do you guide and advise the clients, given that their background and their situation, the circumstances, or do they just come, they send that directly to SSD without looping you in?
We have the ability to submit things electronically directly to Social Security for clients. We are always available to answer questions. If you're not sure what Social Security is asking for in this particular instance, let us know. We can talk you through it. Sometimes clients will reach out and say, "I'm not sure about this. Can you take a look at it?"
Sure.
But it's always important to respond to those things as promptly as possible. Sometimes Social Security will also pick up the phone and call and say, "We're trying to get more information about, for example, the tools that this person used in their last job." And again, it's always important to give them as much information as you can to ensure that their decision is as accurate as possible.
Yes.
To tip number 7. It's the golden rule. Be truthful. There aren't magic words to use. There's not a script to follow. but just be truthful, be candid, be genuine.
And if you can't remember something, you can't remember something, right?
Exactly. If you do not remember, it is saying I don't remember is a perfectly acceptable answer. But not being truthful, quite frankly, never is going to work out well. It just is not a good practice.
Not a good plan.
Not a good plan, because it will come back to haunt you. Always be truthful. Which leads us to tip number 8. Don't exaggerate or oversell. I have this conversation often, particularly when I'm doing pre-hearing preparation calls with clients. And what that means is, for our clients who make it all the way to the hearing level, I do a pre-hearing call with every client that is designed to get them as prepared as I can for their hearings. Those calls are usually an hour and a half, 2 hours each. Sometimes longer, just depending on the case, where we sort of do a dress rehearsal, if you will, for your hearing. Prepare you for what to expect, so it's not a surprise. And one thing I caution people on is, don't overdo it. Again, be truthful, but don't make it sound so extreme that it is hard to believe.
Right.
And I'm not saying people who have said, I literally cannot make myself a sandwich during the day. That I'm not saying that is not true. It just sometimes can seem very hard to believe that throughout a 24-hour day, you're not able to make yourself a sandwich.
Right.
Be candid about what you can do. Be candid about, I can do this, but I've had to change the way that I do it. For example, some clients say, I used to be able to clean my entire house in one day. I still clean my house, but I just can't do it all in one day. I have to break it up. I will do half a room at a time, and then I have to take a break. Some days, if it's something like cleaning the bathtub and I hurt more, I have to take an extra day to recover before I start doing it again. Or I still try to do laundry, but I have to have someone move it from the washer to the dryer because the wet clothes are too heavy to hold on to. Be transparent, be realistic. Admitting that you're able to do some things is not going to, for the most part, destroy a disability case. But I can say with confidence, if the decision maker, particularly at the hearing level, the judge feels that you are exaggerating, or malingering is sometimes a word that you see in medical records, it typically is not going to bode well for you.
Play in your favor, right?
Yeah, if they don't feel that it's believable, it just leaves a bad taste in their mouth. So always be realistic about what you're saying. Tip number 9, another sort of common sense one. It is critical to seek regular and ongoing treatment for your conditions. Throughout my many, many years of working for Social Security and with judges on essentially a daily basis, that's one of those things they look at. If you're telling Social Security that this condition is keeping you from working, they're going to expect to see that you're treating for it.
Right.
It kind of raises the red flag of, how many problems can this be giving you? Or how serious is this condition if you haven't seen a doctor in 6, 9, 12 months? So you want to be, following up regularly, making sure that you are documenting what you are doing to try to treat your conditions. And it's important. You don't want there to be lengthy gaps between treatment in your records, because that can be a very fatal flaw.
Okay, I think that this is, okay, tip
This
number
is
10.
tip number 10, which kind of flows from tip number 9. Be compliant with treatment recommendations. Again, one of the big red flags that I used to look for when I was writing decisions for judges was a case that we're denying. If someone is repeatedly not doing what their doctors are recommending, it makes it much easier to deny your case. If a doctor is recommending physical therapy and someone says, I just don't think that's going to help me, or I don't want to do it, it doesn't look very good for your case. Same thing with medications. If a doctor is prescribing a medication, it's important to take it as it's prescribed.
Yes.
Sometimes, you'll see in medical records, patient reports they've been out of their medication for 5 months now. Well, if you've been out of your medication for 5 months, that could be a possible explanation why your blood sugar is very, very high or your blood pressure is not controlled. With mental health medications, it is so important to be diligent about taking those medications, because when you get off schedule and those medications aren't being taken as they're being prescribed, it can make it very hard to control your mental health symptoms, and sometimes can make it even worse. If a doctor is encouraging you to see a specialist, if your primary care doctor says, I think it's time that you see an orthopedic or a neurosurgeon, it's important to try to follow through with that, because that is an indication that your primary care doctor realizes it is a level of care that someone else needs to provide. And again, you want to do as much as you can to show Social Security that you're trying
To get better and trying to be diligent and compliant.
It's hard to argue I can't work because of this condition when the records are showing you're not doing the things that the
trying to
doctor
rectify anything or improve your situation.
Correct. So always do the best that you can. A lot of times clients will say, the doctor has recommended that I do X, Y, and Z, but my insurance won't cover it. Or I'm not able to go to the doctor every 3 months because I don't have insurance. And that certainly in this day and time is understandable. Things are very difficult when you don't have access to insurance. And the finances are always a consideration. And if that is the case, it's important to then see what free or low cost treatment options there may be in your community. Excuse me. A lot of communities have charitable organizations that help provide free or low cost treatment. Your primary care doctor or other doctors may be able to connect you with pharmaceutical representatives about programs that the pharmaceutical companies can allow you to get your medications at free or low cost. It's important to try to document those things. So again, you're showing Social Security that you're doing the best you can with what you have.
So I'm going to put these back on quick just to do a quick recap, and then we'll wrap up. So the tip number 1,
create the My Social Security account online.
Yeah. And then
Right.
do the same. Yeah. Okay.
Try to get online access to your medical records through your patient portal or your MyChart. Be sure to regularly check snail mail, email, text messages, voicemail, any way that someone from the outside is going to communicate with you. Disable your spam filter so that those 1-800 calls coming from Social Security actually get to you. Keep your representative, whether it's Stanley Law or anyone else, up to date about changes in your contact information, who your doctors are, and what's going on with you medically. Always respond to Social Security timely and completely. Be truthful when you're responding to them. Don't try to exaggerate or oversell, because it just creates doubt. If what you're saying is not backed up, it creates doubts. Be sure to seek regular ongoing treatment for your conditions. And when you're seeking treatment, try to do the best you can to be compliant with what your medical providers are recommending.
So if someone wants to reach out to you, Shannon, they can reach out through info@stanleylawoffices.com. They can call 1-800-608-3333. I'm going to one last time put the QR code on the screen so that you can scan it with your cell phone if you'd like, and that takes you right through to the Social Security disability page. You can learn about Shannon's background, how she worked on the other side of the desk for Social Security disability for many, many years. So she understands the process and the systems involved, forwards and backwards, and that no matter where you are, Shannon and the team at Stanley Law can assist you throughout all 50 U.S. states. Anything else that you would like to add, Shannon?
Nope, I think you have hit the highlight reel.
Okay, thank you all very much. Be sure to like and subscribe to not only the Stanley Law YouTube channel or Facebook, wherever it is that you're watching today. We are available on multiple platforms, and you can check out our Google online reviews for all of the team at Stanley Law, including Shannon and her paralegal and the work that they do for Social Security disability. Thank you again, Shannon, and we'll do one of these again soon. They're very helpful. And I think you can attest to the fact that being diligent, crossing your I's, crossing your T's, dotting your I's, etc., is vitally important. And these webinars kind of help fill in some of that advocacy and resources for our viewers.
Absolutely.
And you get better. You feel better.
Yes. Hopefully the weather and the head cold break soon.
Yes. All right. Take care, all. Take care of one another, and we'll see you soon.
Have a good day, everyone.